Your heating bills are about to spike. And the reason why will shock you. Right now, as you are watching this, a massive atmospheric event is unfolding 60,000 feet above your head. An event so powerful it could flip Britain's weather from mild and wet to bitterly cold within 72 hours. And here, what almost nobody is telling you. 3 separate weather models are now showing the same terrifying pattern. But before we get to that, let me show you exactly what happening to your town this week. Because in the next 30 seconds, I am going to reveal which cities will see the worst conditions. And at minute 5, I'll explain the one thing you absolutely must do to prepare your home. Let's start with what hitting us right now today, Monday, the 26th of January. If you are in Northern Ireland, you need to pay attention. A band of heavy rain is moving in as I speak, and the Met Office has already issued the first rain warning. Expect disruption through the back end of this afternoon. We're already talking about genuine disruption here, not just a drizzle. Southwest England, you are next. The rain is pushing eastwards, and by this evening, it will turn widely wet across your region and South Wales. Notice I said widely wet. That not meteorologist speak. That means everywhere. Here is your first shocking number. Winds are going to hit 50, possibly even 60 miles per hour on exposed coasts. That strong enough to damage property. That strong enough to bring down trees, especially across Southwest Wales and Northern Ireland. But here is what really interesting. And this is where it gets unusual. The temperatures, they really not going to feel too cold. We are sitting around seasonal average, maybe just a touch below in the north. Southwest England might even creep up to 9, possibly even 10 degrees Celsius. So you are thinking, well, that not too bad, is it? Wait for it. By Tuesday morning, and I mean the early hours, we have another weather warning in force. This time for Southwest England, South Wales, and Southeast England. It will be a very wet start to Tuesday. Every single region will see rain. Your commute is going to be miserable. Now, let me tell you about the cities. Let me get specific. London, you are looking at heavy rain through Tuesday morning. Those southwesterly winds are going to make it feel rather chilly, despite temperatures around 9 degrees. The wind chill factor is real. Birmingham, central England. You might see some clearer skies towards the latter part of Tuesday afternoon, but don't get too excited because showers will keep coming in off that southwesterly wind. You are in for a wet week. Manchester, Liverpool, the northwest, you are going to see that rain pushing northwards through Tuesday. It could even turn to snow across the Pennines. Yes, snow. Mostly on the highest hills, but it's coming. Leeds, Sheffield, Newcastle, same story. Rain pushing north, potential for snow on higher ground. The Pennines are going to get hit. Cardiff, South Wales, you are in the firing line for both Monday night and Tuesday morning. Those weather warnings apply directly to you. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Heavy, persistent rain. Edinburgh, Glasgow, Scotland, cities, you've already had wintry showers across the higher hills. But here's what you need to know. Through Tuesday, that rain from the south could turn to snow across the Scottish mountains. The Highlands are going to do quite well over the next few days if you were into winter weather. Belfast, Northern Ireland, you are already under a rain warning as I am speaking. And Tuesday brings another one. You are going to see some of the strongest winds, especially on exposed coasts. Bristol, Southwest England, you are right in the path. Monday evening through Tuesday morning is going to be rough. Very rough. Now drop a comment below telling me where you're re-watching from and I'll give you a specific forecast for your area in the replies. Seriously, comment your city or town right now because what I'm about to tell you next changes everything. Remember I mentioned that atmospheric event? The one happening 60,000 feet up. Let me explain what is actually going on because this is where your weather over the next 2 weeks gets decided. There is something called the polar vortex. Think of it as a massive spinning pool of cold air that sits above the North Pole in the stratosphere. When it's strong and in one piece, we typically get wet, windy, mild weather from the Atlantic. That what Britain normally sees in winter. But right now, something is attacking it. Warmer air is pushing against that polar vortex from both sides, east and west, putting it under enormous pressure. And when enough pressure builds up, something remarkable happens. The vortex can split. One lobe breaks off towards Alaska, another lobe breaks off towards Siberia, and when that happens, everything changes. This is called a sudden stratospheric warming, and 3 different weather models, the American GFS, the Canadian GEM, and the European ECMWF, are all showing signs of this happening. Here is your second shocking number. When a stratospheric warming occurs, we see a lag time of between 10 and 14 days before it affects our weather down here at ground level. So if this warming happens around the 8th of February, we'd expect impacts around the 20th of February onwards. What kind of impacts? Blocking patterns. High pressure building over Scandinavia, winds switching from westerly to easterly, and bitterly cold air pouring in from Eastern Europe. Now, I promised you at the start that I did tell you the one thing you must do to prepare. Here it is, and this is critical. Check your heating system now, not next week, now. Because if these models are correct, and I stress if, we could see a dramatic temperature drop in the second week of February. We are talking about the kind of cold that hasn't hit Britain in years, the kind that causes pipes to freeze, the kind that sends heating bills through the roof. But let me show you exactly what the models are predicting, city by city, day by day. The American GFS model shows something fascinating. Around day 7, day 8 from now, low pressure gets stuck out to the west. High pressure builds towards Scandinavia. The wind switches to east-southeasterly, then goes into a full-blown easterly. What does that mean for you? Bitterly cold air through the north and northeast of the United Kingdom. We are seeing this on the model runs. It's not speculation. Then, and this is where it gets really interesting, low pressure bumps into that cold air from the south. And when mild moisture-laden air meets bitterly cold air, you get one thing, widespread snow. The model is showing a potential snow event for northern Scotland, central and southern England as that low pressure moves northward. Now, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, this is where you need to listen carefully. That snow event would bring milder air with it as it moves north, so you might see snow changing to rain. But northern Scotland, you do stay cold. That precipitation stays frozen. The Canadian model, the GM, shows a similar pattern. Low pressure systems continue to rattle in from the Atlantic at the end of its run. But there is an area of low pressure sat directly over the top of the United Kingdom. If that clears to the east, we get a proper northeasterly airflow. Edinburgh, Aberdeen, you just see temperatures drop significantly, probably quite a lot of wintry weather. The Scottish mountains would do very well with these scenarios. The European model, the ECMWF, runs out to day 10. And by day 9, it's showing low pressure systems beginning to slide southwards, colder air backing in from the east into parts of northern England. York, Leeds, Hull, you are right in that zone where continental air would hit first. By day 10, low pressure systems are still moving in from the Atlantic. And here is the problem. If we can clear those away, we could see colder air from the northeast. But it's not quite aligned correctly yet. You need that low pressure to sink further southward. Now here is something wild. The AI-powered ECMWF model shows something completely different even by day 5. Low pressure systems are already tracking further southward on that run. By day 6, we back into a proper easterly wind. It just shows you how tentative this pattern is, how quickly it can change. But here's your third shocking number. The GFS ensemble is showing a 48% chance of a stratospheric reversal. That S up from 25% just days ago. 48%, nearly a coin flip. Now let me break down what the temperature outlook looks like for Birmingham because it's a central location and gives us a good guide for the Midlands. Right now, we above average. Then between the 31st of January and the 2nd of February, we already have big uncertainty. Some very cold runs in the mix, some average to above average runs in the mix. Going beyond that, we've got some milder runs and colder runs. It's a massive split. Nothing is concrete beyond the 31st of January, but, and this is important, there is a clustering of colder runs. You could consider them outliers, but it depends on how you look at it. The European model midnight run is trending colder in the extremely extended range. Lots of colder runs in there, though they currently synoptic outliers. Not favoured yet, but they there, sitting in the data, waiting. Let me get back to this week because that S, what you need to prepare for right now, Tuesday is going to be rough. Let me paint you a picture of what Tuesday looks like across Britain. Dawn breaks over a rain-soaked nation, every region seeing some form of precipitation. Northern Ireland still under that weather warning. Southwest England, South Wales, Southeast England, all under warnings. That rain continues through much of the morning. It slowly pushes northward. But those winds coming in towards the south and southwest, they are going to be pretty strong. Southampton, Portsmouth, Brighton, coastal areas of the south, you are going to feel those 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts. Secure anything in your garden that could blow away. Seriously, Plymouth, Exeter, Cornwall, same advice. Batten down the hatches. By the afternoon, we might see some clearer skies across Wales and central England. Cardiff, you might get a break. Birmingham, Nottingham, you might see some brightness. But showers will keep coming in off that southwesterly wind. That rain towards the north could turn to snow, mostly across the Pennines and the highest hills of Scotland. Ben Nevis, definitely snow. The Cairngorms, snow. Glencoe, snow. But Manchester, you're probably staying as rain. Liverpool, same. Newcastle, borderline. Temperatures for Tuesday across the north will be around seasonal average. But with those strong southwesterly winds drawing up milder air from the south, we are more widely getting towards 9, possibly even 10 degrees Celsius. Here's the catch. It will feel rather chilly in that wind chill, especially where those winds are strongest across the southwest. Bournemouth, Weymouth, Penzance. You will feel it. As we go through the rest of the week, it's still going to be pretty unsettled, still going to see outbreaks of rain, but there is a little bit of brightness in the forecast through the middle part of the week. Thursday and Friday might offer some respite, some drier interludes. Don T, expect wall-to-wall sunshine, but at least a break from the constant rain. Now, at minute 3:20, I am going to tell you about the most interesting part of this whole pattern, the part that could determine whether February becomes a month to remember or just another mild, wet British winter. Here it is. The stratospheric data is absolutely fascinating right now. When you look at the 10 hectopascal stratosphere level, you can see the polar vortex as a big blue blob. That is the cold air spinning around the pole. Then you've got these warmer pools pushing against it. Yellows, oranges, reds. They were trying to split that vortex. What you want to see is pressure from both sides. Warmer temperatures pushing from the east and west, squeezing that cold pool in the middle, and that S exactly what S happening. The GFS model shows that polar vortex being put under massive pressure, one lobe trying to push towards Alaska, another towards Siberia. If they put enough pressure on it and force it enough, it can split completely. That S when the magic happens, that S when we see a full-blown stratospheric warming. The model is showing deep reds taking over in the stratosphere, blues being pushed to the northwest and over Western Europe at that high altitude. Now, if a sudden stratospheric warming occurs, let's say on the 8th of February, we'd expect impacts around the 20th of February onward. What kind of impacts? Imagine high pressure parked over Scandinavia, winds flipping to easterly, every weather system from the Atlantic getting blocked, and continental air, the kind that sits over frozen Siberia in winter, pouring westward across Europe. That S when London sees snow. That S when Birmingham sees snow. That S when temperatures drop to -5, -10 at night. Leeds, UDC proper snow. Sheffield, the same. The Pennines would be impassable. Manchester, Liverpool, you to see snow mixing with sleet. Not ideal conditions. Scotland, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Aberdeen, you to be in the freezer. Temperatures well below zero, the kind of cold that makes your car refuse to start in the morning. Cardiff, South Wales, even UD see snow. Maybe not lying snow in the city centre, but close. Bristol, Southampton, Brighton, all the southern cities. UD see at least some snow. Whether it settles depends on exactly how cold that air mass gets. But here's the thing you need to understand. This is not guaranteed. The models are showing potential. They're re-showing signals. But weather forecasting beyond 7 days is still an art as much as a science. What we can say with confidence is this. The second half of February has a lot of interest to it, a lot of potential for something significant. The zonal winds in the stratosphere are dropping. We are already seeing them fall to around 6 meters per second on the ensemble average. Compare that to recent runs, and it is a significant drop. If those winds go below zero, that is a reversal. That's when the stratospheric warming becomes official, and we are already sitting at a 48% chance right now. So what should you actually do with this information? First, get through this week. Tuesday is going to be wet and windy across the board. Make sure you've got working windscreen wipers. Make sure your heating is on if you need it. Check on elderly neighbours. Second, keep an eye on the forecast updates. If those models continue to show that blocking pattern developing, if that stratospheric warming materializes, then the forecast for mid-February will change dramatically. Third, prepare for the possibility of cold. I am not saying to panic buy bread and milk. I am saying to check your heating system, make sure your pipes are insulated, keep your car screen wash topped up. Because if this pattern develops the way some models are suggesting, February could deliver the kind of cold snap we haven't seen in years. Now, I mentioned earlier that I want you to comment your location. This is genuinely important. Drop a comment below with your city or town, and I'll reply with a specific forecast for your area based on the latest model data. Are you in Cornwall? Comment below. Are you in Kent? Let me know. Scotland, Wales, the Midlands, the North. Tell me where you are, and I'll tell you exactly what to expect. Because the thing about these big weather patterns is that they affect different areas in completely different ways. When easterly winds dominate, the east coast gets hammered. Norwich, Great Yarmouth, Middlesbrough, you to see the coldest conditions and the most snow. When westerly winds dominate like this week, the west coast bears the brunt. Liverpool, Cardiff, Plymouth, you are in the firing line. Understanding your local microclimate matters enormously. Let me give you some specific examples from past events. In 2018, we had the beast from the east. That was a sudden stratospheric warming event. High pressure over Scandinavia, bitterly cold easterly winds, and snow across huge swathes of the country. Glasgow saw 20 centimetres of snow. Edinburgh was paralysed. Even London ground to a halt with 10 to 15 centimetres in some areas. Cardiff saw snow. Bristol saw snow. Southampton saw snow. It was the kind of event that happens maybe once every 5 to 10 years. And the signals in the atmosphere right now, they are similar, not identical. Weather never repeats exactly, but similar enough to pay attention. The ensembles are showing increasing agreement on some kind of pattern change. The GFS, the GM, the ECMWF, they were all showing heights building to the northeast around the end of January, early February. They were all showing low pressure getting squeezed southward. They were all showing the potential for colder air to filter in. The question isn't if the pattern changes. The question is how much it changes and how long it lasts. A weak pattern change might give us a few cold days, maybe some frost and ice, but nothing dramatic. A strong pattern change could deliver 2 weeks of bitter cold, widespread snow, and disruption across the country. We want to know which scenario plays out until we get closer. That's the honest truth. But the signals are there. The data is there. The potential is there. Now, some of you are probably thinking, why should I trust this? Weather forecasts are always wrong. Fair point. Let me address that. Modern weather forecasting is incredibly accurate out to about 5 days. Beyond that, uncertainty increases. By day 10, we're re-looking at trends and probabilities rather than certainties. But here's what's different about stratospheric warming events. We can see them developing in the data weeks in advance. We can track the pressure building on the polar vortex. We can monitor the warming in the stratosphere. That gives us a heads up. A warning signal. It doesn't guarantee what happens at ground level, but it tells us something significant is possible. And right now, that warning signal is flashing the 48% probability of reversal. That S significant. That S nearly 1 in 2. You wouldn't ignore a weather forecast that said there is a 50% chance of snow, would you? So don't ignore this. Prepare sensibly, stay informed, and drop that comment with your location so I can give you specific advice, because here's what happens next. Over the next 72 hours, we're going to see if these models maintain their signal. We're going to see if that high pressure really does build over Scandinavia. We're going to see if the stratospheric warming materializes. By Friday, we'll have a much clearer picture of what the first week of February looks like. By this time next week, we'll know if that second week of February cold shot is really on the cards. And I'll be making another video to update you on exactly that. In that video, I'll break down the latest model runs. I'll show you which cities are most at risk for snow. I'll explain whether this is a 3-day cold snap or a 2-week freeze, but you need to make sure you see that video. So here's what you do. Subscribe to this channel right now, hit that notification bell, because if this pattern develops the way it could, you are going to want to be first to know. Your neighbors want to know. Your co-workers want to know, but you will be the one who prepared, the one who wasn't caught off guard, the one who actually understood what was happening in the atmosphere. Let me leave you with this final thought. Britain is an island nation at the mercy of the jet stream. When that jet stream flows from west to east, we get mild, wet weather. When it buckles and blocking develops, we get extremes. Right now, we're rewatching that jet stream in real time. We're rewatching it potentially buckle. We're rewatching blocking potentially develop. And if it does, if those models are correct, then the second half of February could be one for the history books. Not in a scary way, not in a dangerous way, but in a way that reminds us that British weather can still surprise us, can still deliver proper winter conditions, the kind of weather that makes you appreciate a warm home, a hot cup of tea, a working heating system. So check that heating system, comment your location below, and I'll see you in the next update, because this story is just beginning. The rain this week, that's just the opening act. The real show might still be 2 weeks away. Stay safe, stay warm.